Hello, hello. Welcome to Unapologetically Wild with me, Katie Sontag. I am so excited to have you here today and to be in your ears. And I want to use today as a bit of a reflection of something that happened to me recently where I realized that my old self would have spiraled and tried to control and would have blocked this opportunity. And mm, although those thoughts come up, right? Because let's be real, we don't really lose those thoughts. A lot of people think as we progress and as we get, say, more successful or as we do work on ourselves and self-development, a lot of people will think, oh, you know what? She's so confident. She must not get scared. She's so able to receive. She must, never worry about the fact that she has enough. And look, there's an element to the fact that you do get more, what's the right word? I feel like I have so much more peace in my life, but that doesn't mean that I don't still have challenges and things come up. And yes, I'm more confident in the things that I've done consistently over time. Like if you went and listened to my podcast, my first ever podcast, it would be very different to this. However, the only difference is I have done this for a long period of time consistently, and that has meant that I've gotten better and more confident to come on here and share my life with you. And that's the thing, like confidence comes from repetition. However, that was the scariest moment of my life, sharing my story for the first time on a podcast. And there are still moments on this podcast where I come on and I get nervous, or because I'm sharing something I've never shared before, or I am like, oh my gosh, how do I do this? What do I say? But the difference is what you start to notice, not only with your confidence and all these other things, it's just that you go after more, right? Because you're more confident. So you go after the next thing, and that's your next scary thing. However, it may not be the thing that someone else who's never done this before finds scary. And I think that's beautiful in life because it means that we get to grow all the time and we get to see ourselves grow. And recently I had the opportunity to be held and seen and just allow myself to fully receive and be completely in my feminine, and even deeper than I probably have in a really, really long time. And it was so beautiful. So I just got to be like mushy. That's the best word I can use for it. I mean, there's probably so many more technical words out there that are like, those in your feminine may want to use, but mushy is my word. I feel like sometimes when you get to be mushy and in your feminine, and there's so many layers to this, right? And it almost happened out of the blue. I wasn't expecting it. And of course, that's really good for me because if you're anything like me and like to control things, that is definitely a thing for me. Letting go has been a real learning curve, and allowing to receive at times when you didn't expect it. And, and maybe that's like, when I was out on Anzac Day receiving drinks and money and to play two up and all these different things, right? And people saying to me, thanks for your service. Like things like that can be really odd. And years ago would have been really odd. And I'm like, no. And now I'm like, oh, I absolutely will receive all of that. Thank you. Because here's the thing, as you grow, you just start to realize like when that would have happened before, I would have overthought it. I would have stopped it and said no. And think about how much I'm blocking my receivership in every level when I start to do that. However, I was enjoying myself. I wanted to do it. So like I was in my element. I was like, yes, I'd love to receive. And that was just the most beautiful thing because it just allowed me to flow with the day, to be with what felt good for me, to be held and to feel safe. And this is nothing to do with the external world. I'm just giving you an external example. This has been all to do with my inner work, right? Because if we think back and if you know anything about my story, and just going to give you a little warning here, I'm just going to mention something that's happened in my life. And if it brings anything up for you, or if you'd like to skip maybe a minute of this, then please do. But a little bit about my story of being, sexually assaulted and raped and being in environments where safety wasn't a thing, right? Not even for myself, let alone I just hadn't cultivated that safety due to, growing up and not always feeling safe. And so in my body, I never felt safe. And so that then translated into the external world, right? Like I was shown how I wasn't safe. And I was talking to someone about this the other day because I used to use physical fitness and think that I was super strong and that I could protect myself. And then one of the most scary parts about that was energy's moving, when I got into these situations and, things happened to me where I wasn't strong enough physically. And it's a really big thing when the one thing you think is your protection is actually not. Like you can't protect yourself. I think that can sometimes be more confronting than the actual, now after a lot of work, the actual moment or the thought of the thing or the experience. And the thing with that is like, you can be as physically strong as you want, but you can't beat adrenaline and you can't beat there's going to be people stronger than you. Like that's just a reality of life. That's not even in any other particular context. That's just in a general context. And so here's the thing is you need to look after yourself internally and your internal safety and build your internal safety. So a lot of the work that I've been doing over the last few years has been about building internal safety so that when I leave the military, I didn't realize this at the time, and if I want to get into a relationship or I want to, move forward into different areas of my life, it becomes safer because I feel safe. So then, of course, I'm only going to attract things that are safe because I've cultivated that internally. And so this is the thing that you see when you're growing and in self-development, and you'll see it in your own life too, where back in the day, I would have said no, or I would have stopped things, or I would have not allowed just things to develop in a really beautiful way, right? Throughout a day, throughout a week, throughout receiving in business, all of these things, right? Because it's all connected, and friendships and all of this. And it was just so beautiful to allow and be with it and receive. And also just see that the old me would have spiraled. The old me would have had all these thoughts, right? Of, what's going on? Why am I doing this? What's happening? I shouldn't be doing this. It puts someone else out. If somebody's offering you something, it's not putting them out. Let's be real. They genuinely want you to. They're offering it for a reason. People don't just offer things because they don't want to. And so your receivership, and it's completely up to you if you want to receive and you're in the capacity to do it. It's more what I'm saying is when you are stopping it, but you actually would love it, but you just think you should. And I think that's what, in my old version of me, I used to just be almost walls up to block the world because it was easier that way, right? So saying no, or being what could happen in this scenario. And now, because I've built this internal safety, I trust that I only ever attract the most beautiful humans and the most beautiful experiences. And I have built the fact that I am always safe. And that's obviously always going to be something I'm going to keep building because I want to feel that all the time around beautiful people in my life. But what I see now is that I attract those people and they are giving and I am receiving, and it is a beautiful connection. And I made beautiful connections on the day with people I'd never met before, in the line and all these things. And, the energetics of attracting your tribe. Same when it comes with clients, the most beautiful people work with me. And then that is just an intention of my life. And I'm so grateful for that. And I think it's cool to allow yourself to be in that and be held by someone you feel super safe with. And this is same with coaches, right? Or psychologist or whoever, a fitness trainer. It doesn't actually have to be someone in mental health, but in any capacity because they're holding space for you. And it's really important that you allow yourself to be held by them, because that is another really beautiful skill. And I watch some women do this beautifully, is being able to be held, seen, heard, but allowing that and not blocking it. Because here's the thing, there is an aspect where, yes, society has all these things and, yes, women should be seen more and heard more and have bigger voices and all that. And there's, obviously that. There's also opportunities where women are taking this, right? Because they believe they deserve it and they're worthy of it. So there's a side of it where sometimes we block it because maybe we have lived a life where that hasn't always been the case. And that can be due to, pardon me, it can be due to trauma. It can be due to, just past experiences. It can be, all of these things that maybe make perceptions that you have of things. And sometimes it's about destroying those perceptions and those stories, right? Because that might have been how we saw it before. However, like now, it's actually not the same scenario. And back then, absolutely, like we needed to see it that way. It was safe for us, right? We know that the brain keeps us safe. We know that that's literally its whole job. So it wants to keep us in the known so that we are safe. And what it knows is everything you've experienced before this moment. And it's going to keep perceiving situations that are similar the same way because that is going to keep you safe. Now, as we grow and evolve, and as we allow ourselves to work on these things that we wish we had, because let's be honest, a lot of the time we look around and we see women receiving and we see women, being with beautiful partners and we see, all these beautiful things. And yeah, of course, everyone has challenges. Like, let's just stick that in the corner and know that that's normal because you can't grow without challenges. I would argue that if you're not being challenged, you're not growing. And the piece of that is if we want to grow and we want to have all these beautiful things that we see, we get to look at what does that mean for us? Because it's different to me than to you and you to the next person you see. But it gets to be something that we keep looking at and we become aware of how do we, for instance, for me, my old, spiraling and, needing meaning to things. Like, what does that mean? Like someone said something to me. What does that mean? Someone like maybe, I don't know, if you're like dating as well, that's always a weird thing when you're like, oh my gosh, do they like me? Do they not like me? Was that a thing? Are we meant to do this? That whole thought process. Same with new friends. Like, oh, should we message? Like, should we go, like, do they like me anymore? We haven't seen each other for ages. Like all of these things, right? Where my brain would have automatically spiraled. And this time it was like, you know what, let it be. And those little thoughts still cheekily come up in the background, right? Because as we know, they don't just like run away and never come back. But it was different seeing them being like, thank you, I see you, and I'm grateful for you. However, I'm like, I had beautiful experience. It gets to be what it is. And, I get to see if I see these people again, amazing. If I don't, amazing. Like it was a beautiful day and leave it at that. And, same with like when you meet people at networking events, oh, I love that person. Maybe you follow them. Maybe you don't really talk to them. Maybe you do. Like, it's like, but you get to leave that as an event and a thing. And absolutely, if you want to reach out, reach out. Absolutely, if you want to see them again. However, sometimes things also just to get to be that moment. And I think there's a real beauty in allowing something to be without it having to mean anything, without it having to be anything, without any of those things happening. And that's really beautiful because what that means is you lived in the present moment of that experience and you can leave it as a present piece. And sometimes the universe will show you that maybe, there's more to it, or maybe there's something else you need to know, or your guides might talk to you and be like, this is a piece of a puzzle. And maybe it's literally to show you that you have grown past where you were before because you no longer listen to those stories or those beliefs, or you saw it completely differently. And I know when I've been, held and in my feminine and just felt safe and free, It's such a beautiful feeling. And it's something I cherish because I know that it hasn't always been the case. And also to not try and over control it. And like I said, doesn't mean my brain doesn't want to do it. Definitely likes to get in there. But it's like coming into being like, okay, it's not controlling me, these thoughts, all of these things, like having to know what's going on, what people, how they've met me for the first time, how do they perceive me? Like, it's just about how do we be in the moment of life, be present, be at peace, honor that, and allow ourselves to keep moving forward. Because as we know, people are going to hate you and people are going to love you, and there's going to be everything in between. And your tribe is energetically coming towards you. You are energetically drawn to this podcast. I know that because my frequency of my voice will activate you in whatever you need through whatever you listen to, whichever episode. It might be all of them. It might be one of them. It might be whatever that means, right? And you'll get exactly what you need from this podcast. If you're meant to work with me, then I would absolutely love to support you in activating you in more of your voice and your freedom and this feminine power. Because to be real, I had no idea what it was. Living in my masculine for so long, I actually didn't know that this was my feminine. And I actually had lived in my feminine as well, to a degree at times, but I didn't even know. And that's a really interesting piece as well, because when you feel safe in it, it's a very different story. So I'd been in my feminine and flowed. However, it was almost like I'd fully let myself go, especially in relationships. And I'd just like forget myself. And it was like, I wasn't a person that, had my own things and did my own stuff, because it was like I would just fall into it. And that was giving my whole self away. And that doesn't serve anyone. It doesn't actually even serve the person I'm with, because they're like, I didn't get with you because you're literally just going to be me or be with me. There's a whole person that they knew that you were when you were single, right? And that's why I love being single, because it's just like, I just like do everything I want, which is amazing. And the other piece to that is it was because I would fall into relationships, not always great ones, some really good ones, some not so great, and lose myself and didn't understand, like I talked about last week, like boundaries, honoring myself. What do I want in life? And also honoring having a partner who can do that too. And we come together and I can be in my feminine and held and all of the things, right? But I needed to know what that meant for me first. Me being in my feminine, that I get in my feminine, right? Like it's not that someone else triggers that. Not saying that that is a bad thing. However, if I don't know what it is without them, how am I meant to work it out what it is with them? And how am I meant to have boundaries and flow with that person and allow myself to be in my feminine and be in my masculine if I don't know how to play with it myself while I'm single and understand what that means? And so what happened was a lot of the thoughts and all of these things were clinging onto being loved or being enough or being worthy. There's all these pieces, right, that are right underneath. And if we really allow ourselves to look at them, it stems from our childhood, our teenage years, all these things, and kind of what we've lived. But when you start to get to the crux of them and you're like, I love me, I have so much self-compassion for the fact that that's how I lived for a while and that's totally okay. And this is the biggest thing I work with my clients on is like, we get to go back to being, I literally love myself. I have so much compassion for those thoughts, for the things that come up. They're okay. They're not bad. They're not good. We don't put them in a category. It's like I get to have self-compassion, self-love, and then I get to flow and be in what my masculine and my feminine. I get to be with all the, and my feminine power, and she is, and I get to be with my emotions, and I get to be with all these different facets of who I am. And what that means is when I learn about that by myself, I'm not saying you can't do this in a relationship, by the way. It's just been my journey to do it by myself. And I'm grateful for that because of the fact that I had this old thing where I would fall into other people. And same with friends to an extent, sometimes. Certain friends, obviously some of them who have very strong boundaries, absolutely not. and who noticed it in me. But some other friends, I would fall into them as well. And so it was about learning. For me, the journey was going on it single so I could learn what that meant for me and actually start to grow into allowing the world to show me as well, getting back to my spirituality and actually seeing that the world is showing me how much I'm growing all the time. And I love it too, because that means that sometimes things happen and it's literally just to show me how far I've grown. And that's a fucking wild ride. That's like the most beautiful thing, because then you're like, oh my God, I'm doing it. Like, because you think back to when you first started and, had all these thoughts and, was going crazy meltdowns and all these things, right? And you're like, oh my gosh, I don't do that anymore. Like, it's wild. Like, I have the thoughts, I acknowledge them, they're still there, that's okay. And I actually know how to move through it. And then I allow myself to feel if I need to feel. I don't suppress it. And then I actually just keep going with my day. And it's like, holy crap, who is this woman? Who is this wild fucking woman? And it's so beautiful. And you can also talk about what you need. And I think this is a really big piece. Sometimes, being single, I talk about this too, of like, sometimes you need, let's say, touch, right? And for me, it's beautiful because I'm like, oh, I'll go get a massage, because it's not sexual. It's just that you genuinely are like, oh, I get to have what I want. What do I want? Same with like, I want to go out to a nice dinner. Well, I'll take myself out to dinner. Like all of these things, you just get to start to realize that you can have it all by yourself. And even like hugging myself or, getting a hug from a friend or all of these things, like you start to meet your own needs, which then means that when you pick someone to be with, right, it's very intentional and the energetic comes back too, because you're doing that for yourself. You're calling in a partner that does the same. And I think this is a really beautiful piece. And that will happen when it's meant to. And I love that too. I never used to. I used to be like, fuck off people who say like, oh, it'll happen when it's meant to. I used to be like, fuck you. I think that's a very normal single person thing to do. And some days I still do feel that way. But also, it's like you just get to see how far you've grown so that you're going to end up, and that because when they grow, you grow, like you grow, they grow, right? Obviously, because you're going to energetically end up with someone that is on your wavelength. Same with clients in business. You're going to energetically, as you work on yourself, you energetically get different clients because your level, you're like heightening your level and so are they, and then they meet you there. And then the same when it comes to money and attracting more money, like, when you raise your vibration and honor your money stories and like move through that, then you get more money. And the same with, anything you want to call in life. It depends what that is for you. That could be your dream job. It could be all of these things, right? As you grow and you develop and you move through challenges and all these different things, it actually sets you up for the thing that you want to receive. And I just love those reminders and those moments and allowing things to sometimes not mean a thing. They're just literally what they were. And it's so beautiful. And look, if things like, if you make great friends and that becomes your best fucking friend, amazing. If you have dream clients that stay with you forever, amazing. Or become your friends, epic, right? So it's like all of these things. And if you make fuck tons of money and then you get to give back, fuck yeah, So it's like we get to have everything we want and we get to see this through the work, through the growth. And that's why when you build safety in yourself, you don't need other people, external validation. You don't need other people to tell you you're safe. You, no matter what you're going through, can hold a position of safety and hold that in your body. And like I said, doesn't mean you won't have emotions, doesn't mean you won't go through stuff. You will be challenged. However, if you can internally feel safe and know you're going to be okay no matter what, nobody can literally take that away from you. Because that safety, even if you don't believe and you're having days where it's not great and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm not sure how I'm going to get through this, because those days happen no matter what level you're at. Those days happen. There's days when you don't feel confident and you show up anyway. There's days when you don't feel strong and you still go to the gym. There's days when you are like, I don't even know why the fuck I did what I did. what did I think was going to happen? You know? And they're normal. Like, I don't think there's anyone in the world that can say they don't have them. And though it's being able to look at how and what you've built in yourself and being like, wow, compared to, and again, comparison is the thief of joy. However, when you're looking at it from a lens of, look how far I've grown, it's really beautiful because it's like, look what I'm receiving. Look how I'm receiving. Look at the people I'm attracting. Look at the spaces I'm in. Look at the business I'm attracting. Look at the opportunities that are coming to me. You start to see them and you're like, wow, the only way this could have happened was because I made a big life choice, or because I decided to back myself, or because I believed in myself. And every day is not perfect and every day is not going to be this magical, magical day. However, if you can know that in those days that you're safe, that aren't the days that aren't magical, that you don't really know what the fuck's going on, if you can be like, I'm safe, feel into your body, place a hand on your stomach, on your chest, and be like, take a breath and realize, like, I am safe. Even if you just say that to yourself, even if you just say, I am safe, and you build that in your body, you will attract different experiences, better experiences when you feel safe. Because whatever you feel, you attract. And this is not devoiding of emotions and fears and all these things, right? They still get to exist. However, we don't hold on to them for long periods of time and we move through them and we allow ourselves to still feel the gratitude, the abundance, the safety as a minimum in our body so that we know that no matter what, we've got, like, I've got me, you've got you. No matter what, because the only person that you live with your whole life is you. So if you haven't got you, how do you expect anyone else to have you? And it has to start and end with you, because what you put out is what you attract. And if you're putting out that you don't have you and that you're not the person that people should go for, even if you're faking it till you make it, right? Like in business, if you're like, not putting out like, you should work with me because I'm fucking amazing, right? Because I am fucking amazing. And if you're not putting that energy out, then you're not going to receive clients. And if you're not honoring that, and again, like I said, fake it till you make it. And you have to keep doing something to build a skill or to build the belief or to build the confidence so that you get to receive the blessings. So it's not about doing it once, it's about doing multiple times. Why do you think the people that are consistent and have discipline, who keep showing up, build muscle, grow massive businesses, have so much success is because they failed a fucking 1,000 times and they just got up the next day and did it again. I love hearing about some of the most successful people that have failed multiple times or been told, they weren't good enough, yet they just did it anyway. And that's the thing. Growth is the same thing. Self-development is the same thing. It's becoming aware of what your patterns are, your stories, your perceptions, all these things from what you've grown through in your life. Allowing yourself to know they're there, honoring them because they served you at one point in your life, and being like, I'm going to choose differently how I move through this so that I can receive opportunities, experiences, and all these things that actually coincide with how I feel on the inside, which is safety, which is love, which is abundance, which is all these things. And you're going to keep going and keep doing it no matter what, because that's what's going to get you there. And the best part is, for me, when I've hired coaches, because they see my blind spot because I can't see it. And that's the same when I work with my clients. They can't see their blind spot either, and I see it. And I'm there because that's the point, is while we're going through life, sometimes we don't see how we're perceiving things or how we're living life. And sometimes someone asking us a question just opens up that door. We become aware and we're like, great, what am I choosing differently today? How do I build safety? And then when life shows us how we've done it, by literally bringing something into our life to actually say, like, you should be so proud of yourself for allowing yourself to build this safety, to be held, to be seen, to be honored, to be loved, to be all of these things. We're like, wow, fuck yeah, all that was worth it. The late nights, the crying, the processes that you go through with your coaches and your mentors, the not being sure if it's ever going to work out, you have no idea when you're talking to no one. Literally, I remember when I first started and I literally was talking to no one. And I was like, if I had a sound effect for any of this, it would be crickets. And now, may not be big to everyone else, but for me, 29 subscribers on my YouTube is pretty fucking cool. And that's the thing though, it's consistency and growing. And some people are like, oh, you'd want all these things. I'm like, no. I mean, of course, I absolutely want all the things. Let's be real. Huge dreams. However, I also get to learn so many skills by growing the way that I'm doing it. And also, I absolutely blow up all the time. And it's fucking cool, right? And each time I do it and do the same thing and go through the same process, I can see how much I've grown. Even when I put reels up and I go viral and, well, my version of viral, don't worry, it'll get bigger and bigger. But, you know, and there's all these hate comments and you're like, okay, but think of all the great comments and all the beautiful people that follow me from it. That's the win here, right? And so it's like how I had to build safety through that. The first time I did it by accident, and again, went viral, not really, but like went to a lot of people, I absolutely couldn't hold it. I had no capacity for it. And I was like freaking out and crying and all the things. Literally now I do it because I know I'm going to get people to, like people are going to talk about it, which then means that people are going to see me and the right people will follow me because they'll know I'm their person. And that's the thing, right? And I do it now on purpose. I put out a reel and I know it's going to have some traction. I'm excited about it because I'm like, I get to have the people that want to follow me. And that's what it's for. And I get to interact with those people and support them and love them. And that's exactly what I'm here for. But each time it's different. And it's because I consistently keep doing it and I consistently keep showing up. And that is the key. Because that then attracts all these incredible experiences like speaking on stages and all these things because I kept putting myself out there and trusting and believing it was going to work. And that's it. That's all you need to do. And you build the safety in your body and the capacity to hold the things that you truly want. Because the more capacity you build, the more you can hold, the bigger you can go, the more you can do, the more people you can help, the more money you can make. All of these things, but you need to grow your capacity in doing it and doing it scared because let's be real, we all do it scared. And then that's how we grow. Confidence, capacity, all of it. And if you want to learn how to do this, I am actually running a masterclass on the 6th of May called Untamed Capacity. Now, we're all about being untamed and incredibly wild here. Unapologetically, of course. And so I want to teach you how to build your capacity, how to take the step, support you in it, and actually move you towards your goals, whatever that is for you in life. And this masterclass is going to take you step by step on how to do that so that you can take the step literally in the masterclass. And then how I can hold you further through it if that's something you want to do. Because if you know that I'm the right person to support you in your journey, then we got to have a conversation. Send me a message. This is a great way for you to check it out. So Untamed Capacity is on the 6th of May at 7 p.m. Sydney time. So get onto that. It's completely free, by the way. So got that. Excellent. If you want to learn that, definitely come along. I can't wait to see a beautiful face. I'd also love to meet you because I love actually interacting with people that are in my world, especially if you've never made yourself known. I'd love to meet you. So I want you to think about that. How do you build safety in your body so that you can have safety on the outside? Capacity in anything that you want. And the thing is, do it over and over again to build more capacity, to have more safety so that you can receive even bigger in every aspect of your life. I just want to tell you that I think this is the key to allowing ourselves to shine and grow and not forcing and chasing, but actually allowing and noticing how we are so we can receive more, because you deserve everything you want and you can have it. And I want you to know that. So I hope you have the most unapologetically wild day. Like I said, if you'd like to join my masterclass, we'll put it below. Please make sure you subscribe. I would love to grow my subscribers. And I will literally do a dance for every subscriber, every new one. Like the video, comment on it. What was your favorite part? What is the thing that you're going to do scared? Please tell me. How are you going to build more safety in your body? Did you even just take a breath in the podcast when we stopped and had that breath? Share it with someone who you know needs this in their life. This is a really big piece, and I want everyone to have more capacity to actually be held and loved and honored and to feel safe. And you deserve all of that. So I hope that you allow yourself to have it. And like I said, if you need help, reach out. Have the most magical day. And I cannot wait to speak to you soon. Like I said, share, like, comment, subscribe. I would love to know you. Send me a DM at Unapologetically Wild with Katie on Instagram if you want to tag us as well. And just have the most magical day. I love you, and I'll talk to you soon or be in your ears soon. Bye.